That's going in the video. Hey everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Small Engine Velocity. And today we are going to do the review of my second track day. Second track day. Now that I've done it twice, I actually have some insights as to the process and the things that you need to do to get ready to be able to do a track day. Now, if you're not familiar, track day is where you take your bike and you go to a flat racetrack and you ride it around. There are classes in this particular track day that kind of give you tips on riding the line, body position, other things to look out for when you're on the track racing other bikes. I mean, when you're out there, you don't have to haul butt, but you know, you're at a track day and that's kind of what you're paying for when you go out there. But you also have to be safe, and that's why these track days at RideSmart that we went to were so valuable to us, because not only do they teach you how to ride faster, better, in a straighter line and go as quick as you possibly can, you can also apply these things to riding on the street. If you're not familiar with my friend Brad rode his Gixxer. It's my brother's old Gixxer. It's his now. He's been cleaning up, keeping it up, and making it faster. Ever since he's got it, he absolutely loves riding that sport bike. And I will be riding my CBR 650R. Now, just because it has 50 more cc than my buddy Brad's Gixxer doesn't necessarily mean it's faster at all, but it is just as fun. Also, I have had a friend recently pass away. His name is Scott Shepard. He has been a buddy of mine since I worked at Fry's before I had my career do anything spectacular. We worked at Fry's together. We sold and slung computer equipment and motherboards and all sorts of stuff over there. He recently passed away. It's a bit hard for me, so I'd like to dedicate this video to my buddy Scott. All right, let's go ahead and roll that intro. All right, to start, you have to have your bike ready for track day. There are certain things that you need to have ready on your bike. There are certain things you can and can't do on certain track days. For example, this particular track day, you don't have to drain your coolant and put water wetter in. Regular coolant is generally slippery, so they usually want you to take that out and put water wetter inside. This particular track day doesn't make you do that. But here's Brad. Go ahead to tell us the things that we need to get our bike ready for when you have a track day. And go ahead.
Okay, so these are the things you need to prepare your bike for to have a track day. Oh, sorry. These are the things you need to do to your bike to prepare for a track day. Come here. All right. So you need to tape up any reflective surfaces. In addition to that, you should probably unplug or disconnect any lights that you can and your bike still function. Obviously, chain maintenance, gotta have the proper slack in your chain. You will not pass tech with an old busted ass chain. Again, up front, you wanna go ahead and tape off anything that's reflective mirrors, if you can't remove them. Headlight, let's see, what else? Also, come back here. If you're gonna run any cameras, you have to have them tethered. That way, if your mount fails, you don't lose your camera off into the middle of the track. Jump cut. For me, I tape over the speedometer because I don't want to have to be trying to pay attention to that and pay attention to my body position, cornering, and track position. So that's some basics of what you need to do to get your bike track ready. Oh, also, last thing, tire pressures. You will run a lower tire pressure than you will on the street. A basic good rule of thumb is 30 in the front, 30 in the back. And then you'll want to check it throughout the day using a good tire gauge. All right, so those are the basic things you need to do to get your bike track ready. Get out there and enjoy yourself. Go to a track day.
So once you show up on track day, you drive your truck in, you drop your bikes off, you get your camp set up, you go ahead and sign up and get your little wristband for you being a person who's riding that day. Then you got to take your bike after you've done all these preparation, and you got to take it to Tech-In. Now, you imagine Tech-In would be like they're looking for loose bolts and stuff like that, which they are, but More what they're trying to do is they're trying to find grossly negligent things on your bike. A super loose chain, a piece of a fairing that's hanging off, something that's not tethered down properly, your tires are bald in the middle or something like that. You know, you didn't tape up your weights, just grossly negligent things, loose hoses or anything like that. When you actually become a actual track racer, like you go into the amateur status, a lot of your drip lines or drain lines, they have to have little containers on the bottom of them to keep them from falling on the track. This is not one of those things. Now that we know what your bike needs to have, what do you need to have in order to be ready for your first track day? Or in this particular case, my second track day. You're gonna need to have track leathers. Leathers meaning a leather tracksuit that goes all around you. A one piece would be best, but if you do have a two-piece tracksuit, you just need to make sure that the top and the bottom half zip together and stay together. So if you were to fall off, that they don't separate or anything like that. There are two options that you can do with leathers. You can go out and buy your own and spend anywhere between $5,000 and thousands of dollars worth for your tracksuit, but this is going to be your first track day. You don't know if you're going to be doing this over and over again. You don't know if you're going to fall in love with this. You don't know if you're going to hate it. So my suggestion is to go ahead and do a rental. Every track day probably has rentals for you. You can rent gloves, you can rent boots, you can rent the leathers. In my particular case, I already had the gloves. I borrowed boots from my brother, so I just needed to borrow the leathers. The downside of renting a suit is that you know that other people's sweaty body parts have been inside of there. If you can move your mind around that, then that's the good choice for you. Now with Ride Smart, if it's your first time to ever do one of their track days, they give you one free tracksuit rental. Now, I don't know about the gloves or the boots, but I'm pretty sure the suit is. You'll have to look it up on the website. I'll put a link below just in case you want to check it out. You're gonna also want gloves, but not just gloves that go to here. You want gauntlet gloves that go all the way down to your wrists. When you put the tracksuit through, you want the glove to go under the tracksuit, and then you want the strap on your wrist and the strap up here so that it stays on your hand if you were in the event to fall off of your bike. Another thing is they want you to wear full-size boots, not three-quarter or half boots or something that goes down. I have three-quarter boots or quarter boots or half boots that I use for regular riding, but in this particular case, the reason they want full boots is because they don't want you to break your ankle if you were to fall off your bike and if your bike was to fall on you, because I'm pretty sure I read somewhere that the #1 injuries for people who, whenever they fall off their bike, is they break their ankles as well as they break their wrists. So, of course, gauntlets and boots. Now, as for the helmet, it's not very, let's say, restrictive on it. You don't need a Snell rated helmet or anything like that. They actually say DOT approved helmet. Now, DOT doesn't mean much to me nowadays, knowing that DOT helmets are a honor system whenever they put stickers on. But it says minimum of a DOT, so if it has a DOT sticker in the back, it will work. Now that brings me to today's video helmet sponsor, Voss Helmets. They were nice enough to sponsor this helmet for me, my Moto V helmet. I love the design on it. It looks spectacular. It has extra chin space. It's called the Moto V because it's a moto vlog helmet. It has chin space in there. Unfortunately, I couldn't put a helmet. Unfortunately, I couldn't put a camera on my helmet whenever I did my track day. That's actually part of against the rules. Now, another thing, fuel. You may be thinking I'm talking about fuel for the bike, but I'm talking about for yourself. Be sure to bring a cooler with things to drink. There will be a food truck, or there usually is some type of facility to sell you some type of food while you're there, but it's usually a food truck and it takes forever. If you look at this line over here, it's a very long line. The last time we came and got to our track day and we ordered these chopped beef sandwiches, by the time we got the sandwiches, it was already time to get back on the track. It took forever. The second day that we went back to, the second track day, we went to the, oh my gosh, I can't talk. The second time we went to a track day, we brought our food. We got to eat our food, brought big old giant hoagies, and we were able to sit down and enjoy ourselves. All right, so we did a little bit of a session when we were recording inside of there. We did a few rides already. You get 5 or 6 sessions, 20 minutes a piece. You may think 20 minutes is not a lot, but 20 minutes of throwing your body left and right, over and over, and moving your head, like, it really wears on you, especially by the time you get to the 3rd and 4th one. But here, as a little excerpt we did while we were at the track. So we finished our first, how many? 2?
Only 2.
Our first 2, and I'm already mostly exhausted. But the track is easier to handle this time now because we've done this before. The turns, the straightaways, now I feel like I'm not the newbie like the first time we came over here. Like, what do you think?
You know, it's a lot more comfortable. At least I feel like I can dive in a little harder. I've gone into corners too fast a couple times already, but it's not the end of the world anymore, you know? You go too fast into a corner and you just go wide. The first day, you go too fast into a corner, you think you're gonna die. So, you know, the stress level's way down. You're able to really enjoy it.
Yeah, I agree. So right now we're at our lunch break, which is pretty long considering.
Yeah.
I felt like the last time we were here, we were so pressured with time on everything. I think it's just because we didn't know what were doing. So if you ever have a bad experience or a slightly rushed experience the first time.
Stressful.
Yeah, stressful. Probably the second time would be better because you know what to expect. Like, we got here early, we parked, we took our bikes out, we were the first people into Tech-In, you know, and we were done. Like, and everyone else was rushing around trying to find a parking space and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, get here early.
What?
Get here early.
Get here early. You heard it first here, everybody. All right, well, I'll see you in the next clip. All right, what to expect? You will ride for 20 minutes. Actually, the first time you'll get there, you'll do a class. Then you will ride for 20 minutes. And then you will do another class. And then ride for 20 minutes. And then do another class. And then I think you do lunch. And then it just keeps doing that over and over and over until you get to the end of the day. I think the only thing that I had a hard time with is that we park so far away from the bathroom. Whenever you walk back to the bathroom and back, it's already time to get back on the track again. You didn't get time to rest. So just a little bit of a tip. Try to see if you can get to the bathroom quicker or bring an electric stand-up scooter or a bicycle or a pit bike. I understand now why people have pit bikes is so that they can go and do all this kind of stuff whenever they have to use the bathroom and save some time for them to breathe, to relax. Depending on if it's the first or second time, you can actually choose your class. You have the first time they had body positioning, they had line, and then they had the beginner's class. There's a beginner's class if you've never been before. So you'll have to ride with a first-time beginner's class. Then first-time novice class. And then there's returning novice, meaning people like me who are novice but have gone through that already. And then there's intermediate, which hopefully someday I'll be intermediate. I'd like to at least get to that level. And then there's advanced. And there's different lines from what I hear when you ride in advance. The winning line or the fast line, and then there's the standard line, which is what you will learn when you go. So here's a little bit of some footage of when we were riding around. There was a couple of parts inside of here where I really felt like I was leaning the bike hard over. Of course, when you look at the pictures, it doesn't look that like I'm leaning that hard, but I felt like I was really doing a good job of coming out of the corners in my throttle correctly, trying to keep my bike more upright so that I can do some acceleration outside of the turns. Of course, there's lots of different skill levels. People are going to be passing you. You're going to be passing other people. In the class, they'll tell you the places you're allowed to pass, especially if you're a beginner, because one of the things you need to do when you're riding on your line is to be predictable and then look for those holes in those predictable routes and then take advantage of whenever someone makes a mistake. For example, we come around the corner. I didn't throttle as hard as I could. When I came around, this is like our very first lap, so I was a little bit hesitant, and Brad came around and passed me easily on the back straight down there. It was a long stretch, and he was able to just pass me easily and come in on my right side and take me when we got to the hairpin turn before we got to the next straight. And after a little bit, he was just so far ahead of me, I wasn't trying to catch up with him. I was just trying to do whatever I could as fast as I can. Now, I don't want to blame my bike because I've passed him before. The last track day we had, I passed him pretty good. So yeah, there's that. So what I wanted you to take away from this is be prepared as much as you can, bring food, expect a exhilarating ride. Make sure that you get plenty of rest the day before. If you're not as physically fit as you think you could be, maybe get yourself a little bit more fit before you go out to the track, because it becomes very hard to have to lean back and forth and do this. It's called a sport for a reason, because there is physical strain on the human body to be able to do all of this stuff that they expect you to do when you're out on the track. Now, we are planning to go back again sometime in April, perhaps. It's my wife's birthday that weekend that we want to go, so I really need to talk to her first to see if she's going to let me go on her birthday weekend, but we'll see. Anyways, if you like this and you want to join us on the next track day, please send me a message. I'll put an email address or something right down below right here. You can message me and we can get a little bit of a group to go together, and we can sit around and talk, maybe make a video or whatever, some shorts. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Track days isn't just for crazy people. Track days is good for people who want to learn how to ride better. Anyways, thanks, and I'll see you in the next video.